We're back for more Versus Live featuring the Mono Red Arclight Phoenix Gauntlet. We have already been defeated by Grixis Death Shadow, the winning Grand Prix list. Took it handily, 3-1. The only game that I was able to come out victorious was one where you kind of stumbled, had too reactive of a draw, but every draw that you had that featured one of your cheap creatures, backed with a little disruption, I fell apart.
Yeah, which is pretty much what the deck does, so I think we can safely put that matchup into Shadow's hands. The cards just line up really well like they do against Izzet, but you don't have the same resilience to discard spells with the density of cantrips that the Izzet list has. And the top of your deck just isn't consistently able to show you enough to recover from those disruptive elements. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. A deck that does have its fair share of disruptive elements, but in a different way. This is Humans, which I think has seen a little bit of a resurgence. This is Dylan Hand's list from the Team Open in Baltimore. Took 16th place, went back to the deck after a little while away from it. I've seen some other people pick it up. I think the deck's starting to get a little bit better as the Phoenix decks are moving away from Gutshot. Right now, we're going to be playing Izzet Phoenix in the third match, and my list has only one Gutshot in the main deck. I think Humans gets a lot better in that matchup. Thalia, if it goes unanswered, is incredibly good. Should also be good here. Granted, you have a little bit more removal because some of your burn spells can go downstairs and take out some creatures.
Never heard it said like that. That's actually nice.
Yeah.
Because normally when you send the bolt upstairs, now we're sending the Skewer the Critics downstairs. We're sending the bolt downstairs because we have good targets for it. No.
Yeah, so I think you're going to end up being a little bit more of a control deck. Use your Phoenixes to get in the air, control my battlefield with some of your burn spells, and then maybe reload with a Bedlam Reveler in the late game. There is a chance that you can just run me over. Sometimes the Humans decks take a little while to set up, especially on their Vial draws.
Right.
They go turn 1 Vial, turn 2 they play a creature that you can clear away, maybe with a Gut Shot, and then turn 3 is when they start double spelling or double creaturing, and by then you might just have dealt 15 points of damage.
Yeah, I think the real test will be to see if your draws can line up well against the ones I have featuring one of my 1-drop prowess creatures. I think this is going to be one of the matches where they shine because you don't actually have much spot removal. You're relying on things like Reflector Mage to do that heavy lifting for you, and if I have a way to knock off your Noble Hierarch, you're not going to be casting those or putting them onto the battlefield via Vial until at least turn 3.
Yes, and those creatures are going to have to do their damage early because I'm going to aim to establish a battlefield where they can't really get through. And that's going to be when I turn the corner and take control. So as much damage as you can get in early with them to allow your burn spells, leftover burn spells, and your Arclight Phoenixes to finish me off as I turn the corner, it's going to be important. So the early turns definitely important here, like they are in every match of Modern, and you're going to be on the play.
Yeah, I lost last match. Let's go and get to the games. If you have any questions for Ross or myself, make sure to at SCG Tour in the chat with those questions, and our Director Rob will be answering those for you, asking them to us for you.
I mean, I can answer them. I just don't know how good they're going to be.
That's fair. Well, my hand is weird. I don't know if I should keep this hand. All right, I'm gonna bring this to Ross. All right, on the play, I have a Faithless Looting. On turn 2, I go Manamorphose, still cast Faithless Looting, kill one of your things, and try to hit Phoenix in the top 3 cards of my deck. 1 draw step, but yeah, 2 Manamorphose, top 3 cards of my deck.
I'd keep that.
Top 5 cards of my deck. I think I keep it too, because if I draw one of those, I think my deck's in good shape. And I have some ways to interact, so I'm gonna keep.
Yeah, because you also have 2 ways of interacting, I like it.
Okay, all right.
My hand's just solid, so.
Your turn.
That was a bad draw. But whatever. I'll name a human and play a Vial.
Okay. All right, red.
Yep.
Red.
Yep.
Red. That's pretty good. Looting.
Red floating. Got how many Phoenixes we got?
Just 1 right now.
We've got another looting.
I do.
Ooh, we're really going for the gusto.
Why not? I guess I just don't need this other land right now. Okay, and then looting again. Try to hit another Phoenix. We missed. Discard land Light of the Stage, I think. The rest of my hand is quite good. We're going to attack for 3. So we did a whole lot of stuff without a whole lot of payoff, which is unfortunate, but...
Sculpted your hand, too, which is important, so you're going to be able to keep me off balance here for the next 2 turns while this Phoenix works me over.
The second Faithless Looting was perhaps a little greedy, but if we hit, then Ross is just under such immense pressure.
Okay, name human, play Athalia. Pass the turn.
Alright, gush out Thalia.
So you're paying 2 life.
Yeah.
Brings you to 18. Attack brings me to 14.
Right, second main, light stage.
I had another light. That makes sense.
Your turn.
Okay. On your end step, I'll put in champion. Normally, you're going to want a champion before you cast the Thalia, but against a deck with Gut Shot, I really just wanted Todd to have to waste a mana, so I played the Thalia first. We do miss out on a counter here, but we should be able to mitigate that pretty effectively.
I also should not play the land from my hand before I lit up the stage, but luckily we didn't get punished.
Okay. Play an island. Play a Reflector Mage. With Todd having Faithless Looting in his graveyard, that's like a decent thing to cast next turn anyway. You also have a million spells. You can just cast the Reveler too and get the Phoenix back. I'm actually just going to bounce a Soulscar Mage.
I like that.
And then put in Athalia's Lieutenant. This will get to a 4/4. This will become a 3/4. And I'll attack for 4.
Okay.
So 14 all. Pass the turn. So that was our turn to our first double creature turn. I guess actually our second, but that was our big turn. Now we're going to look to close the game quickly here.
All right, the problem here is I can't Bedlam Reveler without losing most of my hand. So the question is Bedlam Reveler better than any of these cards? And I think turning these 3 into 3 fresh cards might actually be pretty good. I mean, maybe I actually just keep Soulscar over the 2 bolts, but if I go Soulscar, I can go bolt, and at the very least, I can just shrink things if I need to. But I don't think that that's going to put me in a winning position, so I think I'm just going to go bolt here on this, and then play the Bedlam Reveler. We're going to discard 3 spells, unfortunately, but we get the body, and I think that that's important here. 1, 2, 3. And
you also couldn't play Soulscar Mage that turn.
Right, because it was. I could have Swift Speared. You're right. Good call. Good call. All right. Now the question is, do I attack? You have 2 cards in hand.
I have 2. Yeah.
Okay. I think I just passed turn. Well, the way my hand is set up, I'm pretty likely to be able to bring back a Phoenix next turn, so we can maybe even do some double blocking.
I like defensive Phoenix here. Definitely an angle that these decks have that you want to be cognizant of. Let's move that to 3, and that was an excellent draw.
Ruh-roh.
I guess it wasn't that great. It was still fine. Reflector Mage. Bounce the Bedlam Reveler. I think that's right. And then just attack for 8.
Jump.
Take 3, go to 11. Pass the turn.
Draw. Again, this is why I hate this card. I mean, Mutagenic Growth would not have been better in this spot, but we are basically dead because of this card.
You could have Mutagenic Growth the Phoenix and like eaten the Reflector Mage, or actually, or just traded with the champion.
That's true.
It's pretty good, actually. Definitely better than what Skewer is.
So here I can just Skewer for 3 mana, kill a Reflector Mage. Next turn I'm looking at 8 to put me to 3. Thalia's Lieutenant kills me. Mana Strider kills me. So maybe I just go looting and hope for the best. And I mean, I have to draw. I don't even know what I can draw. Because I can't play the Bedlam Reveler. This is unfortunate. So it's literally Skewer, Soulscar Mage, or Faithless Looting. So I think it's just Faithless Looting, because none of those sound particularly good. Alright, we're dead. That's unfortunate.
There's not a ton of pressure there on your first turns. All you did is bring back 1 Phoenix. That's probably just not enough in this matchup.
On my second turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, I had ways to interact with your creatures, but the one turn where the shields were down, you were able to give multiple of them 4 toughness. Which,
Yeah. And notably saving that champion and not trying to get that first counter on it and vialing on my main phase to do so was important by limiting your options. You could have gut shot the champion and then just spent a turn dealing with my Thalia and said, well, I'll just slow us both down equally because I have the Phoenix on the battlefield. And that probably would have ended up a lot better for you. I would have just had one fewer creature, and that was the biggest creature I had. So saving it and ended up protecting it from a gut shot, which you did have.
All right, so take a question or 2 hour shuffle. We're going to play one more pre-board game.
Sure. I had a third one from Asteas today. What do you feel has the better Phoenix matchup, humans or spirits?
Humans. Not remotely close.
Yeah, you're just way more aggressive. You actually can get a lot of your creatures out of bolt range, and the odds of you getting 2 Drogskull captains on the battlefield is basically 0.
Yeah, the humans' disruption is better, their curve is lower, they have main deck Thalia, their mana base doesn't deal them as much damage, their creatures get bigger faster. Humans is actually a pretty close matchup. I think with 3 gut shots, Phoenix was ahead, but it's not as good as you think, whereas Spirits is a pretty easy matchup. They stumble more often, too. They have the...
Another one from Sparrow. Ross, why did you hold the Mantis Rider back there?
Playing it just forces through extra damage, which isn't something I'm super interested in. It just makes Todd's block pretty easy. He's going to trade Phoenix for the Mantis Rider and then try to deal with the champion later. So all it did was make the turn easier for Todd, whereas I'd rather just take the chump block and get the extra body down later.
I cannot find a land. All right, I'm going to 6 here. On the play, let's see if I can get a keepable 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I also do not have a land.
Feel free to take 1 free mull to 7. I looked at 2 7-card hands with no lands. I'm going to keep this one, but it's not good. On the bottom. Maybe I should just go to 5. My hand is literally, just doesn't do anything. I have 4 burn spells, a Faithless Looting, and a land.
Worst burn deck ever.
Yeah.
Oh.
If these gut shots were Rift Bolts, be in business. Mull 7s? Mull 7s?
Sure.
Yes. All right.
Got to try to have good games, right?
Right. If we don't have good games, what's the whole point?
Yeah. Nah, both of us struggling to find lands here. I just stared at 2 no-landers.
Yeah.
They are in there, right?
There's only 18 or 19.
Yeah. We saw a few in game 1, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Saw 4.
Yeah.
One of which was my favorite, Horizon Canopy. Card's busted. Very, very good. All right. 7's 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're going to keep it, but I don't like it.
Nope.
What are you doing over there?
This
All
is
right,
a
question.
4 landers with no 1-drops and no canopies.
Gamer Zach wanted to know, how do you think Scapeshift is positioned right now?
I assume you mean Titan Shift and not unplayable blue Scapeshift.
Yeah, no one ever plays blue Scapeshift anymore, man. It's not a deck.
I'm sad that deck's not a thing because Search for Scanta is so sweet in it. It does everything you want a card to do.
Just answer the question, please.
I think Titan Shift is generally a weak deck in an abstract sense, but it is reasonably well positioned. It's pretty good against Dredge. It's pretty good against Phoenix, and pretty good against Burn too, which are 3 of the decks that I think you need to target. A lot of the decks that are good against those 3 are weak to Shadow, which is another reason that I like Shadow.
Yeah.
If scape shifting is your thing, I think now is a pretty good time to be doing it. I've cast a few Primeval Titans in my day.
Yeah, me too. It's quite good. One more.
Also, on that same vein, how do you feel about blue-white control right now? Do you feel like that's fallen completely off?
I don't think that it's very well positioned. Blue, especially relative to Jeskai, blue-white's weaker against Burn. Azorius it's in my experience very weak to Izzet Phoenix. I think that's one of my best matchups. I think it's generally weak to Dredge, And do you really want to put Rest Beast in your sideboard that's not really good against anything else? You have to play Surgical, which is sometimes better, sometimes worse, but you don't have as many snaps to take advantage of it. I don't think you're that good against Shadow. Ugh. Okay, I'll keep this. The last card made it better.
All right, attack for 1.
Yeah, now is not a time to be playing control decks, I don't think.
Yeah, tell that to Benjamin Nikolic.
Yeah,
He's gonna come to your house with a baseball bat.
Human. Yes. This might be a game where I just get run the fudge over.
All right, 1. Spike you. Gotta show your noble heart art.
So I'm at 13 from the spike, so you attack for 5, brings me to 8.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
go. What's up? What you got for me?
Human. Not sure which one of these I want to play. I actually think it's this one with Tots so low on cards. Let's take a peek.
Yeah, you can have my gut shot. That's fine.
Okay, pass the turn.
It's fine. Attack.
Take the 1. I think going to 7 here is fine. I'll start blocking it next turn. Ugh. Human. Mantis Rider, attack for 4.
Yep, 16.
Pass.
Thing. It's a good start. Anamorphose.
Ugh.
Go. I cannot risk having him block, unfortunately, so. Copy.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Attack for 4.
12.
Pass the turn.
All right, you have 2 cards.
3
cards? Okay. Go.
And a turn, pop the canopy.
Yeah, this is probably not going to work out well.
Well, my hand is
Not good?
not good.
Well, my hand is face up, so. Okay. That's good for me because he can't play a 3-drop this turn, so Phoenix is going to be able to block something. Even if it's just chump blocking. I mean, I'm probably not going to chump block Mantis Rider, but if it was Noble Heart, but I assume you're not going to attack. But I will gladly trade if you do.
No, I'll pass the turn. Well, here's the thing. Like, if you just draw a 3-damage burn spell and kill my Mantis Rider, that's really bad for me.
Yep. Fortunate for you. I'm going to attack for 3 this time. Change my mind now that we drew another ground pounder.
Yeah, I think I have to trade with that.
Go.
Ugh.
Yeah, I should attack before playing Soul Scar, but sure.
I mean, that's still a very good draw for me here, so I'm not going to poo-poo too much.
What are you even about?
I could have taken the 3 and then had a 4/4 Mantis Rider, which would have been really nice.
Yeah, but then you would have been at 4.
Yeah.
Maybe you die. Ooh. I'm going to play Risk Factor in this deck.
Let's just attack for 2 for now.
All right,
Age 10 and pass the turn.
Go.
Bet your hand doesn't have as many lands as mine.
Sure.
Yeah, keep getting in there. Play an Ancient Ziggurat, pass the turn.
All right. Go.
Rising Canopy, sack it.
Yep. That's the cool thing about Canopy, though. You'd be super flooded.
Deck or 2.
But 6.
Go.
Spike you.
I'm at 4.
Light up the stage.
Ugh. Into gut shot. Well, I have to block all of these, which is unfortunate. I think
You're
I'm
at
just
4. Why do you have to block all of them? You can take one.
but then I'm just dead to the bolt next turn.
Or you can attack me to death because I'm at 6.
Okay, so I have to block 2 of them and hope to draw a human? Forgot you're at 6. Yeah.
Well, these are 3/4s, so if Thalia blocks,
Oh,
you
yeah.
are dead. So you can block, and then you can potentially attack me for 5.
Yeah, so I have to just draw an Anthem or a Tajik or haste creature, Mantis Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, so chump 2 of them, go to 1.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. My hand, as I've been saying all game, is
Warlock.
not good.
Yeah.
And that's not going to do it.
Tilt. I say tilt, but I won. But I feel like I should not have won because my draw was very anemic and yours was just way worse.
I drew 12 lands.
Yeah. That was weird. Okay. Well, that was pre-board, 1-1. Did not feel like it should have been 1-1. Ross just kind of stumbled and died. But light up the stage there with our prowess creatures. Very, very strong, as you saw. And without Thalia on the battlefield, I would have been able to play 2 more instants and pump them 2 more times. And if the Lava Spike had just been Lightning Bolt, I could have gone Bolt the Thalia, light up the stage, and then still played both of the things that I hit off the light up the stage. So a lot of stuff going on there. Anyway, we're going to get sideboards and stuff together. Make sure if you have any questions to @SEG Tour and Twitch chat. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back here to Versus Live with sideboarding for humans against Mono Red Phoenix. From the human side, I think Auriok Champion is our all-star here. Can easily block any of the ground-pounding creatures, no matter how big they get. Gives you a little bit of a life cushion against the burn spells. And once it gets a counter or 2 from Fellow's Lieutenant, or gets pumped up by Mayor. I should cut Mayor Vavrook.
Okay.
just occurred to me. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think Tajik is good. I don't know why you'd be cutting Tajik.
Well, I want to cut. Okay, this list doesn't have Mayor Vavrook. That must have been a different list I was looking at. Yeah, he has. He had Tajik. So I want to cut Tajik in order to maintain my curve. I do think it is a fine card in the matchup, but we're bringing in a couple extra 3s that I think are better in Sin Collector and Comball, and Tajik is just worse than Mantis Rider and Reflector Mage, so it gets the cut. And then usually against decks that bring in a lot of removal or have a lot of removal, I like cutting some number of these disruptive elements because
they're not reliable.
Yeah, unless you can take all of them, they're not going to do enough. Sin Collector is always going to get a card. So Freebooter first, it's kind of awkward to cast. Sometimes Meddling Mage just naming Manamorphose or Faithless Looting can stall them for a turn, and that sort of time walk is really important. Sometimes he'll name Blood Moon to stop that from happening. So this, I think, is going to be a little bit more important than Kitesail Freebooter. Also a little bit bigger of a body, although it is on the ground. So, but maybe I change my mind. I go to Meddling Mage. It's always a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, I mean, you'll reassess after game 3.
It's going to be some number of these cards that come out with the Tajiks in order to maintain my curve.
Yeah. From my side of things, Skewer the Critics, cards with Spectacle are a little bit harder to trigger if I'm ever forced to basically throw burn spells at Ross. And sometimes my creature just can't attack because his get a little too big for me. So Spectacle is not quite as reliable here as it should be. And on top of that, I'm not cutting light up the stage because of just how powerful it can be if the game goes on a little later. So we're going to be cutting Skewer, but not it. Plus, again, this is the card that I want to try to figure out a way to get out of the deck. So we're trying to see how the deck feels without it. Lava Spike is traditionally not very good in matchups for your opponent, is playing a swarm of creatures, and our sideboard plan involves actually just trying to kill all of the creatures, and Lava Spike doesn't really help me do that. So we're going to bring in a Braid, which can take care of not only most of the creatures, but also can knock off Ether Vial, which pairs really well with Blood Moon, because if Ross doesn't have an Ether Vial and I cast a Blood Moon, the game's over. Rending Volley kills most of the creatures in Ross deck. Obviously, it doesn't take care of the Kitesail Freebooters, but as far as or the Noble Hierarchs, but basically everything else falls to Rending Volley, and then Dismember, even though I deal myself some damage, can take care of some of those larger Thala's Lieutenant, even if the game goes on like a little longer.
Yeah. Notably, 0 answers to Auriok Champion. Would have to have
on a red deck. What do you want from me?
You'd have to have something like Kozilek's Return or Pyrite Spellbomb.
Yeah, I'm not
some really weak card.
I think Burnt. I mean, I could do Skullcrack or whatever, and then if you ever block, it dies. But All right, a couple questions while we're shuffling up here.
Yeah, one from Beef Sandwich on how you choose decks for Modern. Do you choose them based solely off strength of tournament results, or should you use play testing to figure out what you should play?
I mean, obviously, you should use both. I would not recommend going into a tournament cold, though it is something I have done before.
Pretty regularly. I'm not mistaken. Like this past weekend with Modern Blue.
No, I
played 3 leagues.
Yeah, played enough. That's fair.
No, I agree with what you're saying, though. It's not one thing. It's a combination of things that you should be using to choose your deck. And a lot of times it can be just as simple as, hey, Brad Nelson wrote about this deck and gave me a sideboard guide. Like that could be reason enough to play a deck.
Yep. And, I'll usually have an idea of the kinds of things I want to be doing, and then I'll cross-reference with tournament results to see if something like that is doing well. When I picked up Is It Phoenix, it's because I thought Thing in the Ice was a really good card in the format.
Right.
And it ended up being the central card in the deck, so.
All right, a couple more.
Yeah, we've got another one from Bob the Destroyer. Do you think Mono Red Phoenix should have a sweeper in its sideboard to just anger the gods for matchups like humans to reset?
So we Ross and I actually talked a little bit off camera about Kozilek's return. I like the 2 damage aspect because it doesn't actually kill your 1-drop creatures to the extent where I think maybe even Pyroclasm is quite good. Obviously, Anger of the Gods is way better against Dredge. Kozilek's return is way better against like Etched Champion or your Ariak champions or whatever. But for the most part, you just have to ignore those types of cards because a 3-mana sweeper effect is not something you can really afford to have in this deck. You saw a lot of games. I'm like pitching extra lanes to Faithless Looting. The games where I don't play light up the stage, it's not super common that I actually hit my 3rd, 4th land drop. So Anger of the Gods is not exactly reliable in your like 18, 19 land mono red deck.
Yeah, also just kills almost all your creatures, so I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
I would be looking at something like Pyroclasm, like Todd said, just cheaper and doesn't kill your prowess creatures.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question.
What would you replace the skewers with? I know you talked a little bit about mutagenic growth, but is there thought that any of the other like burn spells? I believe PT Kulis from Toronto played Fork Bolts, I think.
Ooh, Fork Bolts sounds
Is
nice.
what people are saying in the chat.
I'm kind of liking that because it can kill a 1 toughness creature and turn on Spectacle for light up the stage. That sounds sick. I'm actually okay. I'm in for that. I'm actually just in for complete exploration of this archetype. The first iteration featuring Desperate Rituals and whatnot, and and Tormenting Voice. Like personally, I think that going back towards something like that might actually just be a little bit stronger than the current Burn iteration. With Burn actually having a pretty big uptick in popularity over the last couple of weeks, thanks to the light up the stage and the skewer the critics, people are having it on the radar. So having that angle of attack be one of your primary angles of attack means that you're going to end up falling behind if your opponent has a bunch of Auriak champions or just other ways to really hammer you. Collective brutalities.
Life goes on.
Yes. So people are prepared for that. So you need a bit more longevity. And I think that Desperate Ritual plus Blood Moon out of the board, or Desperate Ritual plus Bedlam Reveler can just make that a little more consistent. But Fork Bolt is definitely something that I would like to try. That sounds nice.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on 6 here. It's a reasonable 6. This scry is not good, though. The second Aether Vial.
All right, well, you're on the play for this game. Aether Vial, womp womp. All right, let's go Soul Scar Mage. Your turn.
1 counter. Perfect. Island Thalia, Guardian of Thraben.
It's quite good against me.
I thought so.
Your turn.
And a turn activate.
That resolves.
Noble Hierarch.
Yep.
Go to my turn.
Mm-hmm.
2 counters.
I can't cast anything except gut shot, and I would have gut shot you and attacked, so please act accordingly.
Noble Hierarch.
Yep.
Attack for 4.
I'll take it. You have 2 cards in hand with.
Yep.
Okay.
You can go.
All right. Draw for turn. Attack.
No blocks.
I have already played a land, so you can just take 2.
18.
18. I'm going to play a 2-mana light up the stage. I've already played a land, but I want to just continue hitting land drops so I can actually maybe get out from underneath Thalia at some point.
No kill spell for Thalia?
I found it, but I can't cast it this turn, so I just have to say go. Okay. And next turn I go land Rending Volley.
I'll leave this vial on 2.
Mm-hmm. Bless you. Sorry about that.
Well, I hope you drew a lot of Blood Moons.
We about to play second Ether Vial? Or you just have your island planes? Okay.
Yeah.
And the 2 Noble Hierarchs?
Attack for 4.
Yeah, I'm at 12.
Pass. Island Plains double vial.
All right. We'll go
Blood Moon,
land.
not looking great.
So he might have another Thalia here, so we need to be a little careful. All right, let's target Thalia.
Activate vial in response.
Okay.
Put in Phantasmal Image, copy Thalia. Choose to keep the imaged Thalia.
Attack for 4.
Take 4. 14.
All right. Second main, we'll play another Light of the Stage. All right, your go.
Not a great hit on that one, but
That's a hit nonetheless. 2 things we can cast next turn.
maybe we want to put this on 3. If I hit Mantis Rider, I'm definitely going to want to be able to put it onto the battlefield. Whew. Seen better.
8.
Go.
All right, draw for turn. Play this land. Manamorphose.
Do you want
Red,
to play
red.
the Soul Scar first? Guess we got a plan.
I mean, I could very easily just not end up casting it. So, all right, Manamorphose again.
So we got 2 red in pool.
Yeah. Plus it's Soul Scar, so it's not like it's even that big a deal. Use one of the red to cast this. Attack for 6.
I'm at 8.
All right, your turn.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Ruh-roh.
Oriok Champion.
Yup.
Image of the Oriok Champion, gain a life.
Yikes.
I'm a 9. Attack you for 4 with this Thalia.
All right, I just have to block, because if I don't, there's a chance that Auric Champion just attacks me to death.
Pass the
Pretty
turn.
So this is basically game over because we drew this. So
Need an Arclight here? Oh, you drew Blood Moon? Is that good?
I had Blood Moon forever. I could just never cast it because of Thalia. And, I mean, if I draw 9 lands, don't have ways to kill Thalia, there's a chance that that just happens, where Ross's draw was not particularly good, but he was insulated from my Blood Moon plan, and I literally drew one of my very many ways to interact with this creature. Thalia is very good against this deck when you don't have a way to kill it. But... yeah. All right, any questions while we're shuffling?
We just had some more suggestions. People were wondering about like Rift Bolt or Maximize Velocity instead of Skewer.
I know Rift Bolt got axed because of its dis-synergy. It would light up the stage. You're unable to suspend it. So that's why that one got cut in favor of Skewer. Not sure which factor is more important. And Rift Bolt does sometimes let you set up really big turns.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I could see... I mean, the first time I hit a Rift Bolt off of Light Up the Stage, I want to throw up. And if you have Bedlam Reveler and Arclight and Rift Bolts that are all bad hits, as well as the double land hits off of Light Up the Stage, I think that just becomes a bit too many mediocre cards for it, and it just stops being functional.
Okay, game 4. Todd on the play.
Yeah. Keep.
Yeah.
Go. Now here you may ask, hey Todd, why aren't you casting Faithless Looting? Well, friend,
Human.
I want to make sure... God, I hate you so much sometimes. Whatever.
This is an awkward hand for Vial. In a non-interactive matchup, I'd probably lead with this, but it's so likely to die that I think you just get the Vial in line.
Bolt you.
Yep.
Light Up the
17.
Stage. Your turn.
Pass the turn.
Draw. Manamorphose, red.
Yep.
Gut shot you. I'll pay life.
You're at 18. I'm at 16.
1 red floating, Light Up the Stage. Land, Manamorphose, red floating.
This would look a lot more impressive if you had a prowess creature on the battlefield.
I agreed. Fortunately, I did not. Alright, so I still have red. I'm going to go Faithless Looting. And just bolt you.
13.
Your turn.
End step, let's get a noble.
Yep.
Bring this to 2.
If Frost didn't have this vial, if it was just Noble or Champion or any other 1-drop, we would have just absolutely crushed it. And then just played Blood Moon on 3 and won the game very easily. But that's why Blood Moon is very hit or miss. If your opponent plays... Yeah, sure, whatever.
Let's Sin Collector Todd.
It doesn't really matter. I can't beat this anyway.
And gain a life. That brings me to 14. I think I'm just going to take the Lightning Bolt.
I'm just going to quit.
Okay. I was going to double Mantis Rider next turn.
Cool.
Through Blood Moon. White, blue, red.
Hey, funny story. If you didn't have this... I mean, that's the thing. Like, Blood Moon, if I had drawn it in combination with a Braid, we could have killed the Ether Vial, Blood Moon on 3, and it would have shut off like 90% of his hand.
If I don't have the Vial there, then I'm forced to play the Noble early. You get to gut shot that.
Right. So, I mean, there are situations where my draw would have been way, way better, but it turns out Ross had not only that, but one of these sideboard cards that has, obviously, Ariak Champion has been in the sideboard of various humans decks for quite some time, but in this particular matchup, anything like that, it's just going to be so hard to beat. So, I don't know. Do you want to play a 5th, even though I'm down 3-1?
It's up to you. We got some time.
We do got some time. We're a little early at the moment before starting the last one.
Modern games are pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I could have played that one out longer, but I mean, I literally just have removal spell, worthless Blood Moon versus whatever. We can also just try not playing Blood Moon, but I think that it is good.
I agree. I've just had turn 1 Vial every game.
Yeah.
Because I'm great.
Is that 4 in a row, turn 1 Vial?
Yeah.
What the hell? Let me cut your deck.
Nope.
I haven't put an Arclight Phoenix into play very often off of my...
Okay, my hand does not have Vials, so...
Alright, well, my hand doesn't have anything really super good either, so...
Champion.
Yeah.
I'm a 19 from that turn 1 attack.
Attack.
17.
Got shot for this. Paying
15.
Red. Alright, so 15 to 20.
Oriak Champion.
Need those skull cracks.
Alright, Manamorphose.
Yep.
Red. Manamorphose, red. Attack for 6. You block 1. You take 3. You're at 12. Here we go.
I don't even need to play.
I know.
Okay. Image Oriak Champion. Gain a life.
Sure.
I'm at 13.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Go. I don't know what's happening. I just can't do anything.
Sin Collector gain 2. 15.
Sure. 20 you want.
I will take the Rending Volley, I guess. Pass the turn.
Your turn.
I gain 2 from that. 17.
Yep. That's the thing. I can basically just never attack with my ground pounding creatures, and every creature either of us play gains 2 life now. The image is protected because it's copying Ariak Champion, and protection means I can't even target it.
Metal Mage.
I'll braid this and
Actually, I'll do it like that.
Sure.
So I gain 2 life to 19.
Why would you do it like that?
Because I'm playing a Vial.
Sure.
I will name...
Bedlam Reveler.
Yeah, I guess that's the right one. Yeah, name Reveler. Play Vial. Pass the turn.
I mean, you could just name Phoenix, but I mean, I can get into play a different way, so. Alright, go.
Not sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. I guess I'll just play the Mantis Rider and start attacking. Gain 2.
I'll kill it. I'm at 16. You're at
21.
21.
Pass the turn. Go. Thalia, go to 23.
Sure.
You can go.
All right. Red.
Yep.
Go.
And a turn.
I'm just going to hold this.
Activate.
Sure.
I'll name Faithless Looting with this one. Go to 25.
Sure.
Sack the canopy. Now we're just looking for some way to apply pressure. I think we'll turn it around now. Reflector Mage, gain 2, bounce Soul Scar, 27.
Mm-hmm.
Activate Reflector Mage Swift Spear, gain 2, go to 29.
Mm-hmm.
And do I just slam into a... Yeah, I'll slam into a spell.
All right, I'll take 8. I'm
Yeah,
at...
go to 8.
Sure.
You can go.
Dead.
All lands.
That was unfortunate. Okay, got 4-1 by humans. That is not what I expected, but the 3 Ariak Champion on the sideboard played a huge role in post-board games. Ether Vial blanking my Blood Moon sideboard plan, also not working out well. And it's not like I'm not really sure that like Spike or Skewer the Critics would have done much of anything there, so I don't know. I'm just kind of falling apart. Like, it's much easier to attack this deck from, the opposing standpoint when you become linear, and we are moving way more towards being a linear strategy of low to the ground burn with just kind of this like backup plan almost of Faithless Looting plus Arclight Phoenix. And you see, like, I think I put Arclight Phoenix on the battlefield twice in 9 games out of the graveyard. 9 games. I've done it twice.
Yeah, it does not. The deck does not Phoenix very much. It's really the prowess creatures that are supposed to be doing the heavy lifting, and they can be awkward if you don't have them on turn 1, followed by a flurry of spells. They're attacking for 2, maybe 3, and eventually they become blanked on the battlefield.
Yeah, and
you get run out of spells.
Yeah, and if people come more prepared for the matchup, if like every card that's good against burn is going to be pretty good against you, but you're also making yourself a little more vulnerable to things like surgical extraction, where you can no longer rely on your back half of your game plan. So it's possible that if humans comes back in a big way and they all have a lot of Auric champions, or if other decks just have burn in mind, this deck just becomes a lot harder to actually win just because of the vulnerability that you're giving yourself. Whereas if you're playing the Izzet version, yes, you have the Arclight Phoenix plan, but I've seen you fight through so much hate, whether it's surgical or whatever, just by using wait until you have Dispel. Your threats are all just vastly different in how your opponent has to attack them, with Lightning Bolt being virtually dead against Thing in the Ice, Phoenix, and Crackling Drake, but pretty good against Terramander in some spots, So I don't know, man. This, so far, not so good, but as I said, we are playing against the hard matchups. These are not the easy matchups. Modern is full of decks that don't really try to interact with you, and if you're goldfishing with this deck against Storm or Affinity or what have you, like, there's a chance your 1-mana prowess creatures go unchecked the entire game, go virtually unblocked the entire game, and you just have these very easy roads to victory that a lot of decks can't really interact with. That said, moving towards that 1-drop strategy, these prowess creatures, means that you're going to be a little more vulnerable to Fatal Push, a little more vulnerable to things like Lightning Bolt, because if you're so reliant on these 1-mana creatures to do a lot of the heavy lifting, anyone who tries to interact with you is going to have the possibility of putting you on the back foot from as early as turn 1.
Yeah, and without that threat, and if your first prowess threat gets dealt with, you have a hard time assembling the Phoenix part of their deck, and you only have the 2 Revelers to back that up. And you usually have to spend some burn spells to cast Light of the Stage to dig towards that second threat or dig towards that Faithless Looting, and then you're just low on spells. You don't really have the way to gas back up because you don't have that density of cantrips that Izzet has, where they can chain them starting from a single opt and cast 3 spells in 1 turn pretty easily. But, we're down 2 matches. We got 1 more to play. This is against the, dare I say, premier deck in the Modern format.
I mean, I don't think that that's a question at this point. Multiple Modern tournaments over the last few months have had 2, sometimes 3 copies of Izzet Phoenix in the top 4. Not just top 8, in the top 4. And that is a pretty scary place to be. We just had a ban with Karkline Ironworks, and now you're starting to see that when people are trying to go back to playing fair Magic, you can really punish them with threats that are resilient to normal forms of interaction. And the Izzet Phoenix deck is way more consistent at generating those big turns with Arclight Phoenix, as well as having the explosive draws featuring Thing in the Ice that, you're going to see a lot of control decks falter. You're going to see a lot of opposing aggressive decks fold to Bolt plus Thing in the Ice. And when you have a sideboard plan or other threats that are all being attacked from different ways, like your Thing in the Ices aren't vulnerable to surgical extraction. So if your opponent is playing this reactive game plan with surgical, and you just go Thing in the Ice, turn 4, transform both, hit you for 14, and they're stuck with a bunch of dead cards in hand, like that's exactly what makes Izzet Phoenix deck so strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, the threats are difficult to handle all at once. There's no real universal. Even Fatal Push that can handle Crackling Drake and Thing in the Ice doesn't match up that well against Arclight Phoenix. And I think Terramander was a great last threat to round out the deck. So a solid addition to it. We're going to see that one coming up in about 10 minutes.
Yep. We're going to take a short break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.